You'd never guess that the worst day of your life would start in a parking lot. But sometimes prejudices don't wait for the right moment. You're caught off guard, defenseless, helpless, and completely unprepared for the approaching storm. For Nicole Carter, this storm came on a stifling afternoon. Everything was going normally for her when suddenly, everything changed. Nicole stood next to her black SUV, the driver's door wide open, beads of sweat forming on her forehead as she rummaged through the mess on the front seat. Papers, bills, a coffee cup, a gym bag. She had everything she needed, but the one thing she needed most was missing. "Come on," she muttered, pushing aside a pile of legal documents. "Where is it?" she began to ask herself. Her bag. The bag that contained her wallet, her ID, her keys, her whole life. It had been with her in court this morning. She was sure of it. But now, late for an important meeting with the state attorney general, she couldn't find it anywhere. Her bag had vanished into thin air. Nicole was 34, deeply tanned, with naturally dark hair pulled back into a professional bun, and a sharp mind that had gotten her through law school and into one of the toughest jobs in the state. As Deputy State Attorney General, she had prosecuted major criminal cases, argued before appellate courts, and advised on legal policy affecting millions of people, but none of that mattered right now. Right now, she was just an angry woman looking for her car. Her phone rang for the third time. She glanced at the screen. It was the office again. She silenced it and continued searching. The sound of an engine stopped her. She looked up and saw a police car slowly pulling into a parking spot. The officer behind the wheel was looking directly at her. Nicole's stomach clenched. She knew that look. She had seen it countless times, in courtrooms, on the streets, in stores. The look that said, "You don't belong here." And she didn't like that look. Those looks seriously bothered her. Trying to ignore the unease that made her hair stand on end, she turned back to her car. She had every right to be here. It was her car. She was just looking for her bag. The car stopped. The door opened. "Hey," someone called out. The voice was sharp and authoritative. Nicole slowly straightened up and turned around. The police officer was white, perhaps in his mid-40s, with a worn face and cold blue eyes. His hand was on his belt, his fingers resting on his gun. His badge read, "Officer Mulligan." "Yes?" Nicole said, keeping her voice calm and professional. She knew what could happen if she made any sudden movements. "What are you doing?" Officer Mulligan asked. "I'm looking for my bag. I think I left it in my car," Nicole replied. Mulligan's eyes narrowed. "Is this your car?" he asked. "Yes," Nicole said. "Do you have your ID?" Mulligan asked again. These questions were slowly starting to annoy Nicole. Nicole felt a momentary surge of irritation. "Like I said, I'm looking for my bag. My ID is inside," she replied. It was unfortunate for Nicole that the officer wanted her ID, but her ID was in the lost bag. "Uh-huh," Mulligan said, taking a step closer, his gaze shifting from Nicole to the SUV and back to Nicole. "So you're telling me you don't have your ID, but this is your car," he said. "That's exactly what I'm saying. I lost my bag and I'm looking for it," Nicole replied. "Get away from the car," Mulligan ordered. Nicole blinked. "Excuse me?" she said. "I said get away from the car, now," Mulligan ordered more sternly. The atmosphere had suddenly become tense. Nicole felt a little scared. The command in Mulligan's voice was very clear. Nicole felt angry but forced herself to calm down. She knew how quickly these situations could escalate. "Officer, I don't understand the problem. This is my car. she continued. "But ma'am, I won't ask again. Get out of the car and show me your hands," Mulligan repeated. Nicole clenched her jaw. She took a slow breath and stepped back, raising her hands slightly to show they were empty. "I'm the assistant state's attorney. This is my car. There's no problem here," she said. Mulligan's expression didn't change. In fact, it hardened. "State's attorney, do you have proof of that?" he asked. "My ID is in my purse. I'm looking for it," Nicole replied. She couldn't provide any proof. As much as this situation annoyed Nicole, she tried to remain calm. "Sure, so you don't have your ID. You mess with a nice car in a public parking lot, and now you claim to be the state's attorney." He shook his head. "Ma'am, I've heard better stories," he said, both dismissing and not taking Nicole seriously. Nicole's face flushed. "I'm not telling you a story. I'm telling you the truth. If you let me find my bag," she tried to continue, but Mulligan cut her off and moved his hand to his holster. "Keep your hands where I can see them, and turn around," he said. "Are you serious?" Nicole asked. "Turn around." Now, Mulligan insisted. Nicole's mind raced. She could argue, she could refuse, but she'd been through enough trials and knew exactly how things would go if she resisted. A black woman arguing with a white cop in a parking lot. Whatever the truth was, the image alone could be devastating. She turned around with controlled movements. Cold metal handcuffs were snapped onto her wrists. "You're under arrest on suspicion of vehicle theft," Mulligan said, his voice flat and emotionless. He had gotten what he wanted. Nicole closed her eyes and forced herself to stay calm. "This is a mistake, a serious mistake," she began to say. "We'll sort this out at the station," Mulligan said. In fact, he was making the mistake of his life, but he didn't even realize it. When they got to the station, all the facts would come out, but by then it would be too late for everything. I'm telling you, that's my car. I'm the assistant state's attorney. My ID is in there somewhere. If you'll just let me get it, Nicole continued. Save it for the record, Mulligan said. Mulligan pushed her firmly toward the patrol car. Nicole glanced once more at her SUV. Its door open, its contents scattered across the front seat. Her phone was still inside, vibrating with missed calls. A few people had stopped to watch, a woman with grocery bags, a man walking his dog. Their faces showed discomfort, curiosity, judgment. No one said anything. No one intervened. Everyone just watched from a distance. Nicole was seated in the back of the police car. The door slammed shut with a decisive motion that made her stomach churn. The seat was hard plastic, the space cramped and stifling. The smell of old sweat and disinfectant filled her nose. Nicole did not like this situation at all. She was even more irritated. Through the window she saw Mulligan approaching his SUV again, using his flashlight to look inside despite the daylight. He was looking for evidence. Evidence that she had lied. Nicole leaned her head back against the seat, her mind already racing. This was bad. This was very bad. But she had built her career on staying calm under pressure and thinking 3 steps ahead. Her job required her to act with everything calculated. Mulligan returned to the patrol car and sat in the driver's seat. He glanced at her through the metal grill separating them. Are you still claiming this is your car? He asked. This is my car, Nicole replied firmly. Then I see no harm in checking the license plate, he said. No problem. In fact, I recommend you do, said Nicole. Mulligan picked up his radio and reported the license plate number. Nicole waited, her heart pounding but her face calm. The registration would be in her name. It had to be. The seconds stretched into minutes. Finally, the radio crackled. The vehicle is registered to Nicole Carter at 412 Riverside Drive, came the reply. Mulligan's jaw tightened. He glanced at her. Your name is Nicole Carter? He asked. Yes, said Nicole. But she had no way to prove it, because all her documents were in her lost bag. There was a moment of silence. The fact that this evidence supported her story clearly annoyed him. But she wasn't giving up. The registration doesn't prove ownership. It could have been stolen with fake documents. It could be your boyfriend's car, and you could be using it without permission, Mulligan said. He was now talking complete nonsense. Nicole felt her patience wearing thin. Officer Mulligan, I'm telling you for the last time, I'm Deputy State's Attorney Nicole Carter. This is my car. I was looking for my bag when you arrived. If you contact the state attorney's office, they will confirm my identity and position, she said. She was trying to prove herself. Or, said Mulligan, you might actually believe this lie. He started the engine. Where are you taking me? Asked Nicole. To the police station downtown. We'll sort this out there, said Mulligan. He was actually driving towards his own end. Once all the facts came out at the station, everything would become a mess. Nicole leaned back, her mind racing. She could ask to speak to a supervisor. She could invoke her right to an attorney, which was ironic since she was a lawyer herself. But a voice inside her told her to wait. It told her to let the game continue a little longer. Because Officer Mulligan had made the biggest mistake of his career, and Nicole Carter would make sure he fully understood the cost of that mistake. The patrol car pulled out of the parking lot, leaving the SUV with its door still open behind. As Nicole watched the car disappear in the side mirror, she had already begun planning her next move. This wasn't over. It wasn't over yet. 1,000 questions were already swirling in Nicole's head. She was making all her plans based on that. The police station in the city center was just as she remembered it from her countless visits as a prosecutor. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, worn linoleum floors, the smell of coffee and industrial cleaning products. She knew everything. But walking through those doors in handcuffs, being treated like a criminal, was a completely different experience. Mulligan took her to a waiting room and finally removed the handcuffs. Nicole rubbed her wrists, maintaining her composure even as her anger simmered inside. Sit down, Mulligan said, gesturing to a bench. Nicole sat down, her mind still trying to process the situation. Her phone was still in her car. No one at the office knew where she was. Her meeting with the district attorney was in 45 minutes, but now she would miss it. Mulligan went into another room. Nicole could hear him talking to someone, but she couldn't make out the words. Other officers passed by her, some looking at her curiously, others completely ignoring her. Finally, another officer appeared, a woman of Latin descent with the rank of sergeant. She approached Nicole with a file in her hand. Ma'am, I'm Sergeant Rodriguez. I understand you've been detained on suspicion of vehicle theft. That's not true, Nicole said firmly. I was arrested while searching my own car for my missing bag. The car is registered in my name. Officer Mulligan refused to properly verify my identity. Rodriguez's eyebrows rose slightly. What is your name? Nicole Carter. I'm the assistant state attorney. The sergeant paused as he wrote, State attorney? Yes. I work in the criminal division. I realized I had lost my purse on my way to a meeting. While I was looking for my car, Officer Mulligan approached me and immediately assumed I had committed a crime. Rodriguez studied Nicole carefully. Do you have any way to verify your identity? My ID is in my bag, which is probably still in my car in the parking lot. But you can easily verify who I am by calling the state attorney's office. Or you can look up my name in your system. Given my profession, I'm sure I've been to this station before. Rodriguez slowly shook his head. Wait here. He walked away, speaking quietly into his radio. Nicole watched him go, and a small sense of vindication began to form inside her. Finally, someone was actually listening to her. Officer Mulligan returned, a skeptical look still on his face. The sergeant says you claim to be the state's attorney. I'm not claiming anything. I am the state's attorney. We'll see about that. Minutes passed. Then Rodriguez returned. His expression changed. He looked unsettled, almost tense. Miss Carter, I just spoke with the state attorney's office. They confirmed your identity and position. He shot Mulligan a sharp look. Officer, 1 minute. Right away. Mulligan's face flushed. He followed Rodriguez into the side office. Through the glass window, Nicole could see the sergeant talking intensely with sharp, angry movements. Mulligan's defensive attitude slowly began to turn into panic. The office door opened. Rodriguez approached Nicole again, this time with genuine respect in his eyes. Miss Carter, on behalf of the station, I apologize for this situation. We are releasing you immediately. We will arrange transportation for you to return to your vehicle. Thank you, Sergeant. But we both know this is more than a simple misunderstanding. Rodriguez's face tightened. Ma'am, I understand you're upset. I'm not upset, Sergeant. I am a senior prosecutor who was unlawfully detained, handcuffed, and arrested without cause while entering my own property. Officer Mulligan made assumptions based solely on my appearance. He refused to verify the most basic facts. And now I've missed an important meeting with the state attorney general. The room fell silent. The other officers stopped what they were doing and began to listen. Rodriguez cleared his throat. I understand. The captain will want to speak with you about filing a formal complaint. Oh, I'll do more than file a complaint, Nicole said, standing up. But first I need to go back to my car and get my bag so I can properly identify myself. Officer Mulligan should have given me permission to do that 2 hours ago. 20 minutes later, Nicole was back in the parking lot, accompanied by a patrol officer, but it wasn't Mulligan. He had been ordered to stay at the station. Her SUV was just as she had left it, the door still open. She walked to her car and continued searching in front of the witnesses this time. Within 2 minutes, she found her bag wedged under the passenger seat. Here, she said, pulling out her wallet and showing her state's attorney ID. Nicole Carter, Assistant State's Attorney, Criminal Division. The officer beside her looked embarrassed. Ma'am, I apologize again. Never mind. I'll handle this through the proper channels. Nicole went straight to the state attorney's office. She was 3 hours late for her meeting, but the chief prosecutor's assistant had rescheduled it upon learning what had happened. The news had already spread throughout the building. Her boss, Chief Prosecutor Patricia Morrison, met her at the office door. Patricia was a formidable woman in her 50s, fair-skinned, with steel-gray hair and a commanding presence in courtrooms. Nicole, come in. Patricia closed the door behind them. I heard what happened. Are you okay? Physically? Yes. Professionally? I'm furious. Patricia motioned for her to sit down. Tell me everything. Nicole recounted the entire incident. Mulligan's immediate suspicion, his refusal to verify her identity, the arrest, the humiliation. Patricia listened without interruption, her expression darkening with every detail. When Nicole finished, Patricia was silent for a long time. Then she picked up her phone. Connect me to Police Chief Hendricks, right now. The call was short and to the point. Patricia explained the situation in clinical terms, but her anger was evident. When she hung up, she turned to Nicole. Chief Hendricks wants to meet with you tomorrow morning. He's launching an internal investigation. That's a start. It's more than a start, Nicole. I'm also recommending that Officer Mulligan be formally charged with unlawful detention and civil rights violations. And I want you to consider filing a civil suit. Nicole slowly shook her head. I was thinking about that. But Patricia, this isn't just about me. How many other people did Mulligan do this to? People without references and connections like me? People who couldn't fight back. Patricia's expression softened. You're right. That's why this investigation shouldn't be limited to this one incident. We need to look at his entire record. Over the next week, that's exactly what happened. The investigation revealed a pattern. It turned out Mulligan had disproportionately targeted people of color in the past. Excessive traffic stops, aggressive questioning, numerous complaints dismissed or downplayed. But Nicole's case was different. Nicole had the platform, the information, and the determination to make sure this time there would be consequences. The hearing took place 2 weeks after Nicole's arrest. The police conference room was packed. Chief Hendricks, union representatives, internal affairs inspectors, and Nicole and her lawyer Marcus Webb. Mulligan with his lawyer beside him sat across from them. He looked smaller than Nicole remembered, his former arrogance replaced by barely concealed anxiety. Chief Hendricks opened the hearing. Officer Mulligan, you are here to respond to charges of unlawful detention, failure to follow proper procedure, and potential civil rights violations. Ms. Carter has given a detailed statement. Do you wish to respond? Mulligan's lawyer leaned forward. My client maintains that he followed standard procedure. He observed someone acting suspiciously in a vehicle and took appropriate action. Nicole's lawyer Marcus didn't hesitate. The appropriate action would have been to ask for her license, check the license plate, which he eventually did and confirmed Miss Carter was the owner, and allow her to retrieve her ID from the vehicle. Instead, Officer Mulligan immediately assumed guilt, refused to verify basic facts, and arrested Miss Carter without cause. She had no ID, Mulligan said defensively. She was messing with a vehicle, her own vehicle. Marcus cut him off. That was proven in minutes by checking the license plate. Yet you arrested her. I had reasonable suspicion, based on what? Nicole spoke now, her voice calm but sharp. I was wearing professional attire. I explained the situation. The only thing that made you suspicious was the color of my skin. Mulligan's face flushed. That's not actors. Officer Mulligan, Chief Hendricks cut him off. Did you know Miss Carter was the deputy state's attorney? Not at the time, no. If you had known, would you have handled the situation differently? The question hung in the air. Mulligan hesitated, realizing the trap. If he said yes, he would be admitting to treating people differently based on their status. If he said no, he would be admitting to arresting a state's attorney for no reason. I would have verified her identity more thoroughly. So you treated her differently because you didn't believe Miss Carter could be a state's attorney, Chief Hendricks said flatly. Despite her professional appearance, her calm explanation, and her vehicle registration confirming she was the owner. Silence. The internal affairs investigator spoke. Officer Mulligan, we've reviewed your record. Over the past 3 years, you've conducted 37 traffic stops in the city center. 29 of those stops involved people of color, even though the area's demographics are roughly half and half. Can you explain this disparity? Mulligan's lawyer interjected. My client's patrol routine. I'm asking Officer Mulligan, the investigator said sternly. Mulligan shifted in his chair. I stop people when I see suspicious behavior, and do you consistently see more suspicious behavior in Black and Latino individuals than in white individuals? Nicole asked. Mulligan did not respond. Chief Hendricks closed the file in front of him. Officer Mulligan, based on this incident, and the patterns revealed by our investigation, I recommend that you be immediately suspended without pay pending further review. We will also review all arrests you have made in the last 5 years. Mulligan's face paled. Chief, please, this meeting is adjourned. 2 months later, Officer Mulligan was fired. The review of his cases led to 3 wrongful arrest cases being settled, and a department-wide reform initiative on racial profiling was launched. But for Nicole, the real victories came in smaller moments. When she testified before the city council about implementing bias training, when she met with community groups that had been fighting these issues for years but whose voices had gone unheard, when a young Black law student approached her after a speech and said thank you for not staying silent. A year after her arrest, Nicole stood in the same parking lot where it all began. Her SUV was parked in the exact same spot. This time her bag was with her. Her phone rang. It was Patricia Morrison. Nicole, the police reform bill passed the state legislature. All your recommendations were included. Nicole smiled. That's good news. Better than good. Mandatory body cameras, independent oversight, revised use of force policies. This is real change. It's a start, Nicole said, looking around the parking lot. We still have a long way to go. We always do. But you helped start the change. That matters. After the phone call ended, Nicole sat in her car for a while. She thought about Mulligan's career ending because he couldn't see beyond his own biases. She thought about all the people who were treated the same way but had no recourse. Most of all, she thought about the responsibility that came with the privileges she had been given. Education, position, platform. Tools that many didn't have had been given to her. It was her duty to use these tools, not just for herself, but for everyone whose voice was silenced by a system that ignored them. Nicole started her car and drove out of the parking lot. She had a court hearing in an hour. Coincidentally, it was a case involving police misconduct. The plaintiff was a young Black man who had been stopped 17 times in 2 years for suspicious behavior. She would take the case pro bono. At least she could do that. Because justice wasn't just about winning in court. It was about ensuring that the next person who stopped in that parking lot looking for their car wouldn't be found guilty and handcuffed simply because they were Black. Nicole Carter had learned this lesson the hard way. She would now spend the rest of her career ensuring that others didn't have to learn it the same way. The system was broken, but piece by piece, case by case, she was helping to fix it. And that made every uncomfortable moment, every difficult conversation, every fight she would face in the years to come worth it. She merged into traffic and began preparing her arguments for the afternoon hearing. The work never ended, but neither would she.